Hello and welcome everybody, hope that you're good, and today some absolutely fantastic and huge news has dropped from the Pokemon Go team. Let's dive straight into it and how it's going to impact the game going forwards forever. The title of the video, the thumbnail, and this article are all fairly obvious updates to Pokemon Go's Shadow Raids and Max Battles. Trainers, prepare for battle as you continue to tackle the biggest challenges in Pokemon Go with your battle team and local community. New opportunities to call for backup are coming. What's going to happen? Updates from May the 13th, which coincides with the Crown Clash event beginning at 10 AM your local time. At 11 AM PDT, so it's coinciding with West Coast time, trainers will be able to participate in Shadow Raids remotely, and this change will remain in effect after the conclusion of the event. So now Shadow Raids, like we had earlier in the year with the Shadow Ho-Oh Raid weekend, you're going to be able to remote raid those Shadow Battles, which is frankly fantastic considering for the longest time, it was an element of the game that excluded a lot of people. Interest very much died off, and people have not really been doing the Shadow Raids probably as much as Niantic and the Pokemon Go team would like. So now you're going to be able to remote raid them. Of course, those Shadow Raids are going to count towards your daily limit of remote raids. However, remote raid limits here starting May the 13th at 11 AM PDT, of course, the remote raid daily cap will increase from 5 to 10. That means you're going to be able to do 10 remote raids per day as of normal going forwards, which I think is honestly so overdue considering we've seen how various events with an increased remote raid limit have had great success, and having the opportunity there caters to whichever kind of player wants to remote raid, be it a Shadow Regigigas or be it a Mega Kangaskhan. That is incredibly awesome, and it does of course state that the maximum limit will possibly increase for special events, i.e. tours, Go Fests, possibly Go Wild, and other raid day events, I assume. Those are the raids, those are the Shadow Raid updates. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all of these updates. Are they playing nicely to your style of play? Are they going to give you more opportunities? Is this going to help you maybe if you're a rural player? Because Shadow Raids have been out of range for a huge proportion of the player base, really. Just inaccessible, not able to raid the Shadow Legendaries or anything like that. So I think, honestly, having extra opportunity, there's nothing wrong with that. You'll be able to remote raid Shadows. You're going to be able to do 10 remotes per day. Let's make it a hat trick. More good news in my view, but I know that not everybody's going to have that opinion, which is entirely fair enough. So, Max Battles, starting May the 19th, so a little bit later at 11 AM PDT, of course. Before Gigantamax Machamp Battle Day, might be worth adding, trainers will be able to join Max Battles remotely by using a remote raid pass and the usual number of max particles. So if you wish to be able to remote battle in Max Battles, it's going to take the max particles to do the battle plus a remote raid pass. So two sets of items from different development bits of the game coming together. The ability to join Max Battles remotely will remain in effect after the conclusion of the event as well. So from moving onwards, May the 19th until the foreseeable future, Max Battles are going to be able to be remoted at your convenience. However, it is going to be fairly costly. It does state that trainers who join Max Battles in person will have significantly more rewards, so more Premier Balls and more XP than before. So they're actually boosting the in-person rewards, which I think is fair enough. And finally, the limit of max particles that you'll be able to hold every single day or collect every single day will increase from 1,000 to 1,500. And obviously this limit will increase during special events as well. So that is the conclusion of the article there. Are you excited for any of these bits and pieces? I'm just going to give my 2 cents on it. Obviously, we talked about the Shadow Raids, we've talked about the increased cap. I always thought that 5 remotes per day was too limited, particularly if there's a good Pokemon that you want to raid, because something I've always thought would be cool is if you could stack up your 5 per day. So for example, you don't do 5 today, but you want to do 10 tomorrow, you could do those 10 because they carry over. So having 10 per day and having double the opportunities to do remote raids, particularly if something good comes around, is honestly fantastic. Obviously, there's no obligation, just like there was no obligation when it was only 5 remote raids to actually partake in remote raid battles at all if it's not something you're particularly interested in. So it's a means of basically allowing access. You know, if you want to do more, you can do more, and I think having more opportunity is a wonderful thing. So that's that. Obviously, access to Shadow Raids, I think this is going to help a huge proportion of the player base who either don't have a community that isn't big enough to be able to take on Shadow Raid bosses, and maybe just people who, for example, aren't around during the specific window of the raid day. for a Shadow Raid Day or something like that. So that's 2 firm ticks from me for these updates. And Max Battles, allowing access, honestly, it's so nice to see the remote possibility for Max Battles coming in this quickly after its introduction. It was only obviously introduced during September last year in 2024, so it's a fairly quick turnaround to add the remote capability for it. We've seen so many people struggling with Gmax. I've seen people in comments of videos and things like that saying, I will not have an opportunity to do Gmax or Dynamax legendary battles at all just because numbers are not a possibility. Now, there is a window of opportunity if you want to get a handful or burn your 10 per day. Because I've had clarification on this and checked with the folks at the development team, the Max Battles will be included in the 10 remote raids per day. So basically, if you burn the remote raid pass on a Max Battle, that counts as your 1 of 10 for the day. So you can choose, hey, I'm going to burn my 10 remote battle passes on Gmax Machamp on that day rather than maybe remote raiding to something else, or vice versa. You can choose to do remote raids rather than doing remote Max Battles, entirely up to yourself. There's some other good bits and pieces which were checked as well because it's not listed on here. Remote Max Battles will have exactly the same implementation of features as remote raids do, so you'll be able to invite your friends from your friends list and you will be able to join your Max Battles via the friends list feature, which I know has had a few bugs and glitches and things like that, so just bear that in mind when using that feature. But yes, you'll be able to invite your friends to Gmax or Dmax battles. You'll be able to remotely join them through the friends list. What has been clarified though is that if you do a Gmax or Dmax battle and you don't win it straight away, tale of two halves. The max particles will not be consumed until you've completed and won the battle. However, the remote raid pass you would use if you remote into the battle does get consumed into the actual location itself. If you fail a max battle remotely, you'll have your remote raid pass stuck in there and you can rejoin the battle basically. So it will be in there until I assume it despawns at the power spot. There's no word on private lobbies yet for Dmax and Gmax battles, which is definitely something that needs to be implemented, and having heard about it, it's something that's in progress and potentially being worked on because they know it's been shouted out by the CAs, it's been shouted out by the creators. So hopefully that gets implemented. But let me know, are you excited for the possibility of remote max battles and remoting shadow raids? And I think the best thing overall, an increase of 10 remote raid passes per day going forwards. These are 3 fantastic changes that were really, really needed in the game, allowing more accessibility, allowing more chances and opportunity for players. So I hope that this has been informative for you, and you can let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. But before we go, I've got to say, if you enjoyed the content here, please do consider hitting that subscribe button down below. As always, a big thanks to every single person who's on my Patreon squad over there, who are the lifeblood and the backbone of what we're able to do here, bringing you the information, bringing you the live events, bringing you the general events, and everything in between. So thank you very much to every single person on those rolling credits there. And of course, you can check out some of the videos here from across the channel. There's plenty more videos for you to see, and we'll have plenty more good stuff coming up with these features being introduced. So I will say, until the next time, folks, do take care.